I'm on mute. I'm talking to myself. All right. Hi. We're here. Gonna be a chill night. No code tonight. We got a rocket launch in. We'll launch in an hour and 15. The coverage will start in about 35, 40 minutes, something like that. Um, but we finished up. This is what we're launching. This was 2 nights ago. Had a really nice sunset, some color at the launch site. Unfortunately, the clouds you see in the background there are the ones that rolled in yesterday from Bertha. And then they could have launched. I mean, the weather conditions were technically acceptable to launch, but there was too many clouds and they wanted imagery of the rocket as it was ascending. So, makes it hard when it's in the middle of clouds. So they pushed it. They didn't even start loading the propellant or anything yesterday. So they just pushed it to today. Weather's much nicer today. Let me put the pit back on there. Boop. Um, it is blue skies, as you can see from that picture. Um, but let me see if I move that over here. Whoop, off the edge. There we go. But yeah, much nicer today. They're already getting the tank farm spooled up. Um, the They posted saying everything was looking good. The weather looks good. That's not even. Where's the? Yeah, that's the one I wanted. That's right. It's only showing me the ones I want now. Change my taskbar to only show the icons that are on that screen. I usually don't do that, but it's easier for streaming so I don't click random buttons anymore. Um, but they did post on X. That's where they always post that everything was on track about an hour ago. So we should be good to go today. It was a very, very pretty view out there. So yeah, but what we're going to do today is, while we're waiting, if anybody has questions about rocket stuff, feel free to ask. We'll get into it more later. But I am curious on their live stream what was the official reason for the first scrub on last Friday or Thursday. Thursday. Because they replaced 5 engines. Ended up replacing 5 engines, and I don't know why. And all they did to test it once they replaced them was they did a quick open up the valves for the liquid oxygen, the flow, and just let it flow through. They didn't like push it through. They just let it flow through, like just to see if there were leaks. I don't know. Well, hopefully they'll tell you what the problem was. Um, but But in the meantime, we finished phase 2. I finished it up not yesterday. Yeah, yesterday I finished it up. It was too late to start a stream, so I didn't stream anything. But the last thing we had to do was make the tool exports. And since it's not anything I'm going to deliver and nothing that's a security thing, it was just more of does it extract the data per our design. I just let Claude write it and I let it run off for about 15 minutes, came back and it was done. But now I can run that at any point, and it will spit out this thing, this JSON. So it lists out all the information about the world that is needed to import into another server if they want to recreate the current world. So like it's got all the regions, and then the big chunk of it's like 1.5 million lines. Bulk of it is land blocks. So it's got the land block, its ID, region, XY, what was buffed on it now. We've got our buff settings. Was it influenced by Limen when it was created? And then it lists out all the 2,601 land blocks. So what they were, the ID, its coordinates, type, elevations, multipliers, adjustments, the weather that we generated for it, which isn't actually accurate yet, but it will eventually be. Mob spawn, which is one of the things that we'll be working on in phase 3. Anything else about it doesn't matter. So like I know we store player count on there and some other things. Those don't matter because they're dynamic. This is just static information. So now we got this giant, as you can see, it repeats all the way down through all the land blocks. And then at the very bottom, once we start filling it in, another part of phase 3 is NPCs, the state of the knowledge, and all the different knowledge and skills and everything that the server has discovered. So it will now export that. This is like a 52 meg file already, and we barely have anything in here. So it will be a large export. There'll probably be a point where I go, we need to tweak this export a little bit and like give it in file chunks, because eventually it's going to get to the file size that's just too big to really maneuver around and use, even if you zip it. So we'll probably start breaking it up into chunks at some point. But yeah, so that's done. No reason to get too much more into that. But the next part is, not that it hasn't been fun, but is even more fun, is populating the world. So that's our next phase. So coming up with how we spawn mobs, coming up how we place NPCs. We already did this one for settlement, but what's not listed on this to do is, okay, what's in that settlement. So if I open up, I think the implementation plan has a little more detail on it. So like the size of them, what services are there, the crafting stations, that kind of stuff, housing, storage, all of that's got to get built out. So you kind of need the settlement to exist before you can put an NPC in there, or a player, or your player storage, or anything like that. So we'll have to define landing zones, events. We will do so that's the big bits of that one. It's just kind of like, okay, how do we populate this world? How do we make it useful at that point? One thing that I don't know is in there that we might actually need. Let me just look. I was thinking about like resource spawning and loot spawning, but loot generation's here. Gathering. Howdy, Nico. How you doing? It is thankfully Friday, and we might have a rocket launch here in about an hour, and we're just gonna figure out how to name stuff in our game while we're waiting. We're just kind of going through where we're at. So all that stuff's there. So yeah, but the big thing I want to do, just because it's chill and I don't have to think too hard today, is this bit is naming things, because I'm gonna have to I need a name, a pool of names, a name of pools, that describe that are for mobs. And oh, that sucks. That sucks when it's not actually a weekend. You have a weekend somewhere during your week, right? Where you have a time where you're not working between the times when you're working. It's just doesn't fall the standard weekend. So you probably had a different day off this week, or day or two that was your weekend, right? But it sucks when it's not in line with everybody else's. Yes. So you had 2 weekends. See, look at that. You get 2 weekends in 1 week. That's cool. um, the positive side of having 2 days that aren't consecutive, albeit not having 2 full days of nothing that you need to do for work, is you don't have a 5-day work week now. You have at most a 4-day. It could only be a 3 and a 2, right? So it breaks it up a little bit more, a little shorter. But yeah, so we've got a rocket launch coming up. I've got other screens over here. They're chatting about stuff, by the way. So, but they're prepping the tank farm and lines and everything to fuel here in a little bit. Ooh, 9 days in a row. Ugh. What do you is it like a retail or what kind of or construction or what is that you're in that's forces you 9 days in a row? Trucking, I guess could be logistics. Well, all kinds of stuff could be 9 days in a row. But what area of business are you in? Are you a drug smuggler? Ah, okay, gotcha. So like similar to like a Home Depot or a Lowe's in the US. Uh that may not mean anything, but like Home Depot, this might show my hometown. Hang on. Yes, it is. So screw fix. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Screw fix, the UK's leading retailer of trade tools and hardware. Yeah, that'd be a Home Depot. Home Depot or a Lowe's are the big ones here. Home Depot is based out of Atlanta here too, actually. Arthur Blank started it, and he's also the one that made the big or put a lot of the funding towards the stadium here in Atlanta that the FIFA was played in. So cool. Yep. But yeah, I don't miss retail. I worked in retail 4 years. Most of my college time, I worked at Best Buy. Um, First 3 years were just actual retail, like working on the floor selling crap. Um, then the first 2 years were that. Then there was a year I was working at the tech bench where before it became Geek Squad here in the U.S. fixing computers, and then it became Geek Squad, and I started driving around and installing networks and fixing computers in people's homes. So a little bit different than retail at that point, but still retail. Still sucked on holidays. Having to Black Friday was the worst. Yeah, you definitely see a different side of the public when you work in retail because you see every side of the public. You don't just see like the industry I'm in now. I don't even talk to the public anymore. I see how badly people manage their money, but other than that, it's not. I don't actually directly talk with any of them. But yeah, no, I mean, and it's even different. Like the different jobs I had there when I was selling computers and equipment and stuff like that. There was one type of people that I dealt with when I started getting into the repairs and service stuff for not just computers but anything. You could definitely tell more about people. Like when I would open up a desktop computer, I could smell if they were clean people or not clean people. Because people tend to not smell. They take a shower, put deodorant, all that stuff, and when they're in stores, not allowed to smoke and stuff in stores and everything. So you don't necessarily sense all of that stuff. But when you open a computer that's been in their house for years, and either it smells like they smoke 3 6 packs a day inside of there, or there's dead rats in there, or there's food in there. Like, I don't know how you get whole bits of sandwiches in your. I saw that once. There was like a piece of a sandwich inside of the computer. I don't know how that happens. Unless they had the computer just sitting there with the side off of it and were dropping food into it. I don't know. But you learn a lot about people when you start digging into that stuff. And then you start going to their homes, which I did for the last year, and then you even learn more about people. Yeah, I don't know. Sandwiches, I had dead rats, like full rats inside of computers. If you leave your computer closed, there's no way a rat should be able to get into it. So the only way it could get in there is if the thing is sitting open or held like the side is partially off or something like that. But when they would bring it in, it looked like a normal computer from the outside. Like it didn't have holes in it or anything where stuff could get into it. But then there's that stuff inside of it. And I just all kind of the question marks start going off in my head. Like, what am I looking at here? uh, Howdy's as. Uh, but there's also the darker side of looking at people's, because it's not only the physical repairing of computers, but we also did like software work too. Like if their OS wasn't booting or what. There's a darker side, and unfortunately, I dealt with some of that darker side that had to get authorities involved a couple times. But some people are very sick. We'll just say that. So, but yeah, no, I don't. I don't envy any being working in retail. I've done that, been there, done that. Not doing it again, unless I get to the point where I retire and or I need a little extra money. Maybe I'll go work as a greeter at Walmart and just stand there all day and do nothing. Right? Maybe that's what I do. I don't know, but I hope when I retire, I don't need to do anything. That's the goal. Speaking of, when are the next lottery drawings? Because settle it and retire tomorrow. Let's see. Georgia Lottery. Oh. What is today? 24th. It is. It's the goal as a fun goal. Like it's never going to happen, but I never count on it. But if it did, even if I won $1,000,000, I'd be happy. Mega Millions is 743 million tonight, and Powerball is 600 million tomorrow. All right, and I have 30. How much money from free from the Georgia Lottery to spend on tickets? $32. All right, I'll buy one of each for the next two drawings. See if we can get lucky. If you don't see me stream ever again, that's why. I won the lottery and I moved to a remote location where nobody can find me. That's exact. I don't have to. I know exactly what I would do with that money. I mean, and it's not even all about me. A lot of it is just I would keep enough for not having to ever work again, and then put it in the right investment and savings and CDs and stuff like that to make sure I don't. I always have income too. And then certain individuals that I in my life, be it family or friends, they wouldn't have to worry about their debt anymore. We'll say that. And there would be some charities that I would donate to that have had an impact on me throughout the years. But outside of that, I pretty much know what I would do with the lottery winnings. Alf would be very spoiled, more so than he is now. So he is currently sleeping with his head under the couch because Alf. Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, no. I mean, I'm pretty comfortable at it as it is now, but it's just a lot of work to be in this position, right? Um, Saz knows I work way too much, but that's how you get paid the big bucks, right? If you want to call it big bucks. Hump up. Yeah. You get couch Fridays every Friday, though, the way I work now. Yeah. I have so many meetings on Friday. I just sit on the couch with you during meetings. Yeah. And come say hi. Come here. Alf will be 6 in October, but he still acts like he's 2 or 1. Come here. Don't look at me with those furry eyeballs. Come here. Come here. Come here. You licked my pizza today. You should be happy. You don't get to eat it because it's not good for you, but you licked it. And then I ate it with all your slobber on it because I'm dad. Anyway, so yeah, so we got another 25 minutes or so. We'll get the official launch coverage up. But in the meantime, I started taking some notes. We got to come up with a crap ton of names for creatures and regions and cities and NPCs and items and things and skills and all kinds of crap in the game. I gotta eventually have them. It can't be skill 1, skill 2, skill 3, mob 1, mob 2, mob 3. It's gotta have actual names at some point. So one of the constructive things I did today for hi, come say hi. Come say you're such a weirdo. Um one of the constructive things I did today for work during meetings is I came up with some just like thoughts while I was doing stuff. How can we name things without having to make up all of the names? Like, can we take existing names and tweak them, or take some adjective form of them, or hi, hello, you coming closer? Yeah. Oh, you're getting close this time, huh? Hi, hello, hello, Mr. Alf. Is this going to be sit on Daddy's belly time? Yeah. Yeah, is that what we're doing? Oh, huh? I know. I hear. Yeah. And you missed your dad yesterday, didn't you? That's why I didn't stream yesterday, because your dad drove for 4 hours round trip to the airport and back, because rush hour sucks balls. Yeah. It's like, was 100 some miles round trip, so 50 each way, 4 hours. I was not going 25 miles an hour the whole time. A lot of it was zero. um, but yeah, we need names. So I was just trying to think of ways to name stuff that I don't have to be incredibly creative. Like if we have, I had some examples. Like we have birds, we call them flyers or nest builders or something like that, right? Um, we can name stuff after the anatomy of the creature if it's a mob, or use mythological or scientific references. Like fire could be Pyra if there's fire in the game, or dragon, or whatever. Um, just change the spelling weirdly, like ERINGLY. Change it to ITHARESH. Things that are less common in English, just to make it different sounding. Howdy, PJ. How's it going? We are here. Alf is resting his head on my belly, my full belly from dinner, because he's unhappy he didn't get to eat my dinner. So he's here. It's always a good day when I get to cuddle with the boy. Um, and then other things could be prefixes or suffixes that just change it, whatever that might be. Work in 10 minutes. Always working. You back at like 3 jobs now, or are you down to 1 or 2? Hopefully not 3. Um, oh yeah, that's get this shift over with and then fall asleep for a day. Sounds like a plan. I could have done that today. It was raining all day until about 2 in the afternoon. I could have slept all day, and so would have Alf, with just listening to the rain on the roof in the bedroom. Oh, that would have been very nice. Well, hopefully you get to that sleep soon. Um, yeah. What kind of stuff did you do on the farm? Did you actually do like, well, it was you did animal farm related things, right? You didn't do crops. I think if I remember correctly, could have been the other way around, but it was one or the other. I think you said animals though. I imagine you do just a lot, everything related to tending to them and feeding and cleaning up and uh, corralling. Now, do you wear cowboy boots like a Texas farmer? Or you just wear normal shoes like normal people? Or rubber boots when you go slogging through crap filled mud from pigs and cows? Wellies. All right. I think I know what that is. I'm going to go look it up because I don't 100% know if I know what that is. Let's see here. I've lost my left hand because Alpha's sleeping on it now. Yeah, I was talking about you. Yeah, I was talking about you. Pretty sure that's not the welly you're talking about because that is called or bandages. Let's see here. Welly boots. That's probably what you. Yes, so the big rubber boot looking things. Yep. Okay. Nora's. All right, let's see if we can find these. Let's see what kind of boot PJ wears on the farm. Ooh, fancy. Ooh, they're like thermo safety boots, so they keep your feet warm, I guess, during the in the winter. So these guys, something like that. This is Nora Wellies, those kind of things. Fancy, not cheap, but fancy. I mean, shoes just don't seem to be cheap at all anymore, regardless. Even for me, just getting a pair of like sandals that are decent for hiking in, just so they're comfortable and airy, and I can go through water and not get soggy feet. They're like $120. It's ridiculous. There's barely any material there, and they're charging me out the butt for them. I got big feet though, so they got a big sole. Cool. I have never worked on a farm. My aunt and uncle had a. Oh, that was my crap. Jeez, why'd you do that? He pushed off with his paw going right between my legs. Okay. We'll be talking higher now. Um, my aunt and uncle had a farm for a little while, but it was after we'd already left Ohio, so we didn't really see it much. I haven't done much on farms. Um, well, cool. Well, hopefully it goes. You can get your, you can afford your mortgage and all that stuff, but as long as you're happier, that's all that matters. Cool, cool. Have fun at work and enjoy your slumber this weekend. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, no, that's what I gather. I'll just play Farm Simulator. I have Farm Simulator 25 or whatever the latest one is, but I will take care of cattle in digital world while you do it for real. Uh, anyway, have a good one. Um, so yeah, so different reusables, prefixes and suffixes, just to change the name of something. Um, I was thinking of like not so much dog 22. I put it on here as like, well, it could be technically animals. I mean, if it's a mechanical mob, maybe it's got a number in it, like R2D2 type stuff, but or C3PO. But mainly materials. I was just thinking because you see that in different types of alloys and stuff like that. Metals have numbers in them. Do something like that to make it use a number that's not the actual number in Earth, like real Earth, to differentiate. Um, Add random adjectives that you don't normally use. Glass trees. Yeah, trees aren't typically glass, but maybe they look like they're glass. Um, and then the last one was think about what an alien would think about something. So if the alien was a flying alien, would they call wind wind, or would they call wind air flood, or a flood of air or something like that? Or that's just flooding, right? Flooding for flying aliens is when the wind blows really hard. I don't know. But those were the kind of like ideas I had for how to come up with the names without racking our brains. Like, yeah, we can have a bear, or we can have a goblin, or we can have just a regular run of the mill alien looking dude. I don't have to come up with crazy names for it. Just tweak it a little bit based off of his normal name. And then it's not only is it relatable to people playing the game, and you don't have to go, well, what's a kabliga jigababa? That doesn't mean anything to anybody. But if it's just well, it's a Draconis Pyra. It's a fire dragon. At least they're words you can interpret. So I just spit on my keyboard. Um, so yeah, that was. If we get to any of this tonight, and we got about 10 minutes until the stream starts for the launch, so we probably not going to do much of that. But this is going to be my weekend project. Is coming up with names. As I think of them, write them down. There will be an elf in there somewhere. Like, uh, what can we call him? We could call him Alfra Wind. Alf farts. Don't grunt at me, Alf. You know you fart. Um, so yeah, so this is don't whine at me. This is our plan for the next 10 minutes. Although I think he wants to go pee. I think he's ready to go pee. So I should probably let him go pee before we get one. There'll probably be something, some form of Alf will be in there in some form. We actually, I jokingly suggested we name a tool at work after Alf, and they ended up rolling with it, and it's an acronym for something. I don't remember what it stands for now, but it was they used his name for something. So he gets into everything somehow. Don't you? Do you need to go pee? Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess now is time of good any. Now is a good time. We'll get the right words out somehow. Now is a good time to take him out and let him pee before rocket stuff starts. So let me do that really quick, and I will be right back. And your homework assignment while I'm gone is to come up with 3,000 different names of mobs for me, please. Kidding. All right, I'll be right back. All right. Looked like it was about to start raining again. Check the radar really quick. Rain likely around 6:30 p.m. Yep. Well, I guess we timed that very well then. Ooh. Is that picture accurate? No, it's not. It's not going to rain it. Oh, wait. Why is it saying 4:45? Refresh. Oh, yes. Okay. That's actually like thunder. That's a proper line of thunderstorms coming. Yay. Doggy gonna bark right in the middle of the rocket launch, too. Mother Nature, you're so funny these times, this time of year. All right. Well, let me do that. That out of there. I hear Alf making weird noises now. He's like, I'm so happy I got my greenie. Let's just look at this one. We got 4 seconds. So we got. Go away, that chat. Got some big old vapor clouds coming out of the tower vent. So they are chilling the lines and they're getting ready to prop it. I'm guessing what that means is if I look at Mr. X. Nope, they haven't posted. Usually they post when they are go for prop load, which happens, I think, 36 minutes or something, 37 minutes before launch, which is in the next 4 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes. That's typically what the time frame is for them. Let's see. No, it's 50. So they've already done it. Yeah, this wouldn't be happening if they weren't go for prop load. So they were already go for prop load. 37 and a half minutes is when they start loading liquid oxygen, which is what that chill line is for, into the ship up here. So that will happen in, if they're on time, 45 minus 5 is 40. So in 2.5 minutes, we should start seeing frost over here. So we have officially transitioned to rocket. It looks like we might actually get a rocket launched. I mean, unless it does the same thing it did last time. And if it does, then many, many, many questions will arise. And we'll have yet another short stream. I don't care about where you have your cameras. I want the camera view. So yeah. They're still scheduled to start their stream in 5 minutes as well. And maybe we'll find out what happened with those engines and what they... Oh, here comes Alf with his toy. You got your ball? Yeah? Did you leave it up in the bedroom? You're weird, Alf. You guys can't hear it because I don't see it on the OBS. There he is. Yeah, piss off all those dogs that listening. Oh, yeah. He's staring at me with the ball resting up against his nose, and he's growling. But as soon as I go to reach to throw it, because he wants me to throw it, he will shove it back into his mouth so I can't get it.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but
What was that,
because
Al?
they are hard.
Did you hear JFK say something? Thank you for the bits, Nico. um, what? You've heard JFK before. Give me your ball. I'm not getting up to get it, boy. I'll throw this toy. How about I throw this toy? Mr. Attention Ho. He got my attention all day today and he won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Hey, settle down. You got your greenie. You got your pee break. You got your toys. You got your cuddles and your scratchies and your kissies. You just want to come sit? Okay, you sit there. That's fine. Alf. No, we. All right. What time is it? 6:08. Where's my other? We'll see if this actually refreshes. Still on the road, huh? Do you have to drive up? I guess I don't remember where you're leaving from, so. But at least you're in that right part of the country now. Hi. You want to say hi to Granny? I know you smelled her when I came home yesterday. Yeah. Will you quit licking your balls that you don't have? Alf. Come here. Give me this face. Give me this face. See? You know that name. You stared at that name in the car when we were driving. You know who that is. Yeah. Weirdo. What are you licking? Ugh. All right, they should be starting any second. Let me just refresh it and see if it just started. Nope. Ah, 6:16. Buttheads. They usually start 30 minutes before, so I was actually surprised they said 6:10. But yeah, everything's going. Nothing. They already did their go for prop load. I said earlier everything was looking good. The reason they delayed yesterday was it was too cloudy. Not that they couldn't physically launch, but because they wanted to get pictures on ascent of the heat shield and booster and everything, it would have just been in the middle of the clouds and it wouldn't have been very helpful. So, being a test flight, they wanted to see it. So, we are go for launch today, though, at this point. I got all the prop lines. I think we should probably be seeing frost on the ship at some point here soon. Well, that's still going, so they haven't finished that yet. So yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. Alf has had his break. He has had his greenie. He has had everything he needs. We should have a nice, seamless, minus the thunderstorms that are rolled. We got a lot of rain yesterday. You can let Dad know. I mean, I did hear. Got a lot of rain this morning, so and there's more coming in the next half hour here at least. Nice heavy thunderstorms, but it rained until about 2 today. It was a lot. Alf, you're weird. You know that? You know you're weird. Yeah, we needed the rain here too, Nico. Things were kind of. They kept predicting rain, and then maybe it rained in some parts of the area, but I didn't get anything. It was just dry and hot and muggy. Trying to see if I see on the. If I make that bigger. I don't think anything's getting into the ship yet. Maybe. Their stream is frozen. Well, the video is. The clock isn't. The video from their camera sites are. Ah, yes. They use a lot of Starlink to this group use a lot of Starlink to transmit their video cameras that are inside of the exclusion zone. And I guarantee you, SpaceX, being SpaceX and owning it, goes, well, all the bandwidth at our Starbase site becomes ours when we're launching. So they have to fight a little bit for it, I'm sure. 6:14, 2 more minutes. And then hopefully we find out what made us abort the first test. I'm very curious why they had to swap out. I think they have. I don't know how they track this at some of these sites, but there's. It sounded like they swapped out 5 engines. Don't know why. Because they all worked during the static fire. I don't know why. Oh, breaking news! What breaking news? Prop load has begun. Okay. Guess that's fair. I can do it too. Prop load has begun. So we are on our way to hopefully getting this thing in space. Kicking me off. So this top left picture here is as close as non-SpaceX employees can get. It is, grab my tab and open my map over here and then move it. So they are, that's Mexico. No, that's Texas. Never mind. Nope, that is Mexico. Where the heck am I? There's Corpus Christi, South Padre. There we go. They are all the way back here. This is as close as non-employees can get to the launch. They've got some outposts here and houses that have been built down along this road. Doesn't seem like the best place to build a structure right next to the Rio Grande that floods. But okay. But that's as close as you can get normally. But then they have, if you're an employee, you can obviously, they're up here at their production site. But that I think is 5 miles, if I remember correctly. Where's the distance measure thingy? Measure distance. So here, measure distance to here. 3.63 miles. I don't know what that is in kilometers, but it's something. But yeah, that's as close as they can get. All right. See you later, Nico. Have a good evening. Enjoy your work weekend. All right, it is 6:17. Is it running? It is. There we go. Well, I want to wait. That music is copyright. We'll wait until they start. We'll drag these other ones off. Oh my God. Can't get the tabs. Just if you're curious, this is the view. Oh, they just came back. I can hang on. That's the view from South Padre Island. This is at the one of the resorts on the south end of the island. This is the park and campsite that's on the south end of the island. But that's a lot of people are there at South Padre. You can see the launch site there. I think this is like 10 miles away. But obviously it's so big, it's quite visible. All right, they are doing their thing. We'll wait till this is done because it's got music too. I'm just waiting for the next catches. I'm waiting for the ship catch. That's going to be a crazy one to see that happen over the Gulf of Mexico. Right there. That's going to be crazy to see.
Hello and welcome to Starbase Texas. It's 5:19 p.m. Texas time, and we are just over 31 and a half minutes away from Starship Flight 13, the second test flight of our next generation Starship, version 3. During our initial launch attempt last week, we had a clean countdown, loaded all propellant, and got all the way to engine ignition, where the vehicle executed a safe shutdown when its automated systems detected off-nominal startup on 4 engines. That safe shutdown ensured that both the vehicle and launch pad were kept safe. As we often say, the payload on these test flights is data, and even when we don't get off the ground, we learn some valuable lessons and improve from them. We're going to dig into the details of that in just a moment, but all of that to say is that we're here today and we're ready for our second launch attempt. I'm Kate Tice, Senior Manager of Quality Systems Engineering.
And I'm Nathan Commissary, a civil engineer here at SpaceX. Today, we're coming to you live once again from just outside the Star Factory production floor, about 1.5 miles from the rocket on the pad.
Back in May, the first test flight of Starship version 3 delivered tons of data, and we'll be putting those learnings into practice today on Flight 2. All of this brings us one step closer to a fully and rapidly reusable vehicle, the key to enabling frequent flights to the Moon and Mars. Starship will also enhance Starlink's constellation and connectivity on Earth, the Moon, and beyond, while helping establish a network of AI data centers in space. Success on today's suborbital mission also opens the door for near-future orbital flights and our first attempt to catch ship on Tower 2 here at Starbase.
And this is an exciting day for the Starlink team as well, as we're planning to deploy 20 of the newest generation Starlink satellites. These sats aren't intended for operational use and will only be in space for about 20 minutes before demising. But during those 20 minutes, we're going to attempt to speedrun a bunch of tests. Things like deploying solar arrays, firing thrusters. We'll get into those a little bit later into the show.
Yeah, and what Starlink engineers learned today will be essential to deploying operational V3 satellites into the Starlink constellation on future Starship flights. These larger, more powerful next-generation satellites are designed to boost orbital capacity, strengthen the overall network, and deliver a noticeably better experience for our customers.
And as we've said before, Starship is a developmental program. What we're doing today is a test. We test in flight because it's the best way to rapidly iterate the design, and it's the best way to put the vehicle through its paces in the actual conditions it will experience during an operational mission.
Yeah, exactly. So while we have real Starlink satellites on board, the most important payload today is data. But no matter the outcome of today's test flight, excitement is once again guaranteed.
Now let's head a couple of floors upstairs where Dan Hewitt is just outside the Launch Control Center. How's it going, Dan?
Hey, Nate. It is going great. Hi to you and Kate. Hello, everybody else. I'm Dan Hewitt with SpaceX Communications. Happy to be here with you for another launch day. As Kate noted, our first attempt to launch this flight test last Thursday ended early in a pad abort. Let's dig into that a little bit. So 4 of Super Heavy's 33 Raptor engines aborted at startup due to issues with their aux turbo pumps. Those rapidly pressurize and feed liquid oxygen into the engine for combustion. For those of you that like to pay real close attention to the on-screen telemetry, you saw this at T0 during that first attempt. We command the engines to start up simultaneously. You get some slight differences as the engine adapts in real time, but you saw 4 not light up. So 4 out of 33, what exactly happened? We have a launch constraint built in where we can only be down 2 Raptor engines at liftoff, so the vehicle detected more than that were out, automatically aborted before the final T0 safely shut down all of the engines that started up. We dug through the data, and what we saw was some off-nominal spin response in the aux turbo pumps on 6 of the engines. So the most likely root cause was determined. We were collecting some moisture inside of the pumps from previous operations, which then froze when we introduced that cryogenic propellant, and that either slowed those pumps down or stopped them completely from spinning. So for this next flight attempt, we swapped in 6 engines that were already at Starbase, and we did a test back on Wednesday that allowed us to check out the newly installed engines and spin the aux pumps on all 33 after they were chilled, check out their performance before we got into another launch attempt. We pulled a bunch of those engines off, as we said. We tested one on a test stand up at McGregor, helped screen for any other issues that might be hiding, and that one was actually able to do a full booster ascent burn. So got us in a good position for today. Even though we didn't get off the pad last week, we learned about the engines, the prop systems, how they perform in the flight environment. Already going to drive some changes to make Starship more reliable. We also got a real-world test of an abort that's designed to take place at one of the most critical dynamic phases of flight. We safely shut down 29 running Raptor engines, safeguarded the vehicle and the pad. A mountain of work goes into designing aborts. You've got software, hardware engineers just dreaming up bad day scenarios, how we want the vehicle to respond, just to give us the best possible path to maximize safety, preserve the mission and the hardware, so we're able to do that. All right, that was then. This is now Flight 13's second attempt. So
basically,
things are looking really good at the moment. Just
the
behind me here is
liquid
the
oxygen
Launch Control Center. Everybody's on
spin
console,
right.
looking at the systems on board the vehicle and on the pad as we count down to liftoff. Propellant load is underway. We slipped a little bit into our windows. We waited for some last couple of things to settle out, and we are targeting a liftoff at 5:51
I question what
PM
got in there that
time.
made that happen
Weather
and
today,
how that
you can
happened.
see we've got blue skies. We're going to do a little weather corner here for a second.
As long as they learn
because
something,
we were originally attempting to fly yesterday, and we didn't because of, we said, weather. I want to be clear, the cause of not flying was visibility. It had nothing to do with launch weather constraints. One of the key goals of this flight is to get very clear imagery of the tiles on Starship as we're flying it at a higher dynamic pressure. You can't do that when you have clouds completely obscuring your view through all of those critical phases of ascent. We're actually capable and legally allowed to launch into lightning because we've done a ton of testing, unique testing, analysis, studying aircraft capabilities, and it's designed because that's ultimately the cadence we want to fly at, like an airplane. We're going to utilize that new capability carefully, but we're very aware. If we want to fly Starship as often as you could fly an airplane, you're going to have to fly in weather that historically would keep rockets on the ground. So we're doing that analysis, we're doing that testing to prepare for the future. Aside from weather, we're watching the range, both in the Gulf right here off Starbase and in the Indian Ocean. That's currently green. We are not tracking any vehicle or pad issues that will preclude a launch today. Speaking of the pad, That launch infrastructure, it's every bit as complicated as
There
the
was an
rocket itself.
interesting
It's
lightning
designed to
picture
operate
of a
in some the
rocket in
most
China
extreme
this week
conditions on Earth.
that happened. It
In
actually
case you
did
missed it,
happen.
we had some pretty cool
See if I can
insight
find
into
it.
what it takes to launch the most powerful rocket on the planet in the second episode of our ongoing documentary, Starship.
Less music. No music.
When we're only a week out from flight, my main focus is getting into flight. The thing that separates us from a lot of other companies is that we test fast and we test often, and that includes launches. We want to make sure the vehicle's all ready to go. We want to make sure the ground's all ready to go, but we also don't want to be caught in analysis paralysis.
Our main objective today is a 10-engine static fire. Aboard. On LVN1, looks like we kicked out due to 2 combustors from the apex bank being pelted.
There was a pad side abort called. These things were holding like 5,000–6,000 tons of propellant plus the rocket weight. And it's like, okay, well, why didn't you guys simulate that? It's like, well, because we didn't have anything that weighed that much. Like, this is the first time we put anything on it that weighed that much. So there's just so much that you have to think about and be very paranoid on.
We kicked out early. All teams triage alerts, prepare for offload.
We actually had another pad abort on the diverter.
Basically, right during engine firing, it was so much noise and vibration that it actually shook the sensors that are located out in this area enough that they aborted us out of the test. We went back, obviously, afterwards and looked at all the data and tried to come up with smarter ways to basically still protect the integrity of the diverter throughout the operation while changing our parameters so that we were making sure that we would not abort again.
A flame diverter is like a super simple concept that is like not at all complicated in operation and is just absolutely murderous in the details. These are extremely sophisticated thermal load sensing devices. If they turn into melted metal slag, then you know that you got too much heat. If you melt this, you're hotter than aluminum melts. If you melt this, you're hotter than zinc melts. If you melt this, you're hotter than copper melts. If you melt this, you're hotter than Sharpie melts. So we're sub-Sharpie. We have all of this mass flow, all of this energy that is just absolutely trying to obliterate our pad. We want to give it a thing to obliterate to keep from obliterating the things that we care about. And the thing we give it is water. The amount of energy that water can absorb is like miraculous. And so if you can get high enough pressure water in the right places and just allow it to flash boil that water, then it solves a lot of the problems for you. Like the idea is that the steel never gets that hot, the structures never get that hot, because the water absorbs all that energy, turns to steam, and everything's okay.
So for this flame deflector on pad 2, we're sitting somewhere in the neighborhood of about 650,000 gallons per minute. That's approximately in the range of about like one entire Olympic swimming pool being drained in the course of a minute.
You're trying to look into this thing and you see how like glowing hot it is. It's just yeah, a pretty impossible environment to keep something happy in.
Here's
But
the Chinese
when you zoom
rocket.
in and the flame deflector's still
Literally
there,
got
so that's the
struck
reason we build those
mid-flight.
things.
Still made it to orbit and launched the payload, but they're clearly designing stuff to be struck by lightning too.
To human terms, is something really
But that was this week.
65,000 pounds per
Went in the
second
top,
of propellant
out the
that is coming
bottom,
of
and out the
engines.
exhaust.
And again, just like
Crazy.
18 million pounds of thrust, like what does that number mean? I think of like 11 Ford F-150 trucks per second just zipping out of the bottom of the rocket. It's like imagine if you had the world's biggest machine gun, except for instead of shooting bullets, it was shooting pickup trucks, and it's just firing 11 pickup trucks per second out of the bottom of the rocket. It's like, do you think your stuff could survive that?
And it is so satisfying to watch the slow motion flame diverter shots.
Right, and just hear all the exciting stories of how we tackle these problems out here in Starbase. Super exciting.
Yeah. And by the way, if that looks like fun to you, come join our team. We are seeking scrappy problem solvers to help us build the future. Okay, let's go meet the rocket out on the pad, Starship version 3. It's the most powerful rocket ever developed and ever flown.
And it's also the tallest at just over 407 feet tall, fully stacked, It is massive. Standing at the base and looking up
It's
is
a
like
little
looking up
shorter
at a 40-story building.
once it gets fueled,
Incredible.
though.
Yes, it's a
'Cause it
two-stage
shrinks.
rocket. Both stages are designed to
Shrinks
return
by
to
about a
Earth and
foot
fly
or
again,
so.
making that thing that you see on your screen the first fully reusable rocket ever. The bottom half, or
Foot
the
or
first
two.
stage, is the Super Heavy booster. That's the silver part. It's powered by 33 of our newest iteration, you see them there on your screen now, Raptor 3 engines. They run on liquid methane and oxygen, and this version of Raptor provides a significant increase in thrust. With that additional thrust, as you can see here by these comparisons, the version that we're launching today, version 3 on the far right, that version of Starship gets off the pad much faster
V1
than our
was so
previous
janky.
versions. The one on the far
Shooting
left,
up
I believe, is actually our Flight
concrete.
1 footage, and in comparison, they really just go.
And now Super Heavy has 3 grid fins, which you can think of as aerodynamic rudders. You see them on your screen now. They help steer during landing. They're 50% larger than on previous booster versions and are designed to support rapid reuse and a more stable atmospheric reentry.
I love that shot there. And at the top of the booster, we've got the hot stage adapter. It's designed to protect the booster during separation, and now it's fully integrated for reusability.
And stacked right above that is our upper stage of the rocket, or stage 2. It's what we call ship. It's powered by 6 Raptor engines, 3 optimized to sea level performance, and 3 for the vacuum of space.
Ship's design could one day enable point-to-point transfer on Earth, meaning you could travel anywhere on the planet in an hour or less. Sounds pretty great to me.
Sounds awesome.
It's designed to carry massive orbital payloads, both cargo and crew, to Earth orbit, the moon, Mars, and beyond.
And for the first time, we are carrying real Starlink V3 satellites to space. For more on that, let's head out to California, where Tyler is standing by with the team in Hawthorne. How's
taskbar.
it going, Tyler?
Now, for those of you who have been following along, the Starlink version 3 satellites have been designed to take full advantage of Starship's payload capacity. And we're going to get our first look at those satellites today. The Starlink V3 is our next-gen satellite, and it includes meaningful increases in capacity, data density, and power generation. So we'll be adding around 20 times the capacity into the constellation on each Starship mission as compared to the version 2 satellites that we launch on Falcon. And that means that we'll be able to serve more people all around the world and with increasingly better high-speed internet. Like all Starlink satellites, the V3s are built at Starlink's site in Redmond, Washington, where we already build more satellites than anyone else in the world today. Now, the V3 sats are designed to support 1 terabit per second of downlink and 160 gigabits per second of uplink capacity. That's approximately a 10 times improvement in downlink capacity and around a 22 times increase in uplink capacity from the version 2 Starlink satellite. Serving this capacity to and from customers are the satellite's upgraded phased array antennas. The upgraded phased arrays are fed by SpaceX's in-house developed chips that were designed to serve customers more efficiently in both densely and sparsely populated regions simultaneously. And each Starlink V3 satellite is also equipped with 6 high-capacity 400 gigabit space lasers. Now, these 6 lasers will allow high-bandwidth traffic to flow uninterrupted between any 2 points in the world with redundant paths across a petabit laser mesh network. And if that wasn't enough, the V3s will carry 4 quad-band radio frequency backhaul antennas. And these will take advantage of the Ka, E, V, and W communication bands, allowing for an 8 times improvement in supported capacity compared to the V2 sats. And that's a lot of growth in capacity and capability. And as such, the new satellite design requires more power. So the solar arrays on V3 will generate approximately twice as much power as the current arrays that we fly on the V2 satellites. And they're also optimized to reduce drag in the lower orbital altitudes in which these new satellites will operate. But before we operationalize these satellites, we want to put them in a flight-like environment. These satellites were loaded into Starship last week ahead of that first attempt. And once deployed, the Starlink team will only have about 20 minutes of flight to speed run some of these tests before the sat's demise in the atmosphere. The team will attempt to run tests such as extending the new solar arrays and antennas, connecting with ground stations, and turning on the satellite's communication systems. And this is all part of SpaceX's iterative process to technology advancement. From the very beginning, Starlink was designed to scale rapidly and improve continuously. From production to launch and ground infrastructure, Starlink is uniquely positioned to keep pace with rising demand around the world. In fact, just last week, we rolled out the next generation Starlink kit, the V5, which is built for reliable, high-speed home internet.
music. So interesting. So they say they can launch through lightning. I wonder how they've tested that. I mean, what have they done with this ship and booster? And it's made of metal, so it can get struck by lightning, but I wonder how it survives. Like maybe they've tested all the communicate all the avionics and everything to not be affected by a lightning strike. Somehow they're grounded differently. It's interesting. That's a tidbit of information I don't think anybody has heard before.
On with Starlink, we've also started development on an entirely new satellite constellation, StarMind, our AI satellites. I got to sit down with Elon and Starlink's director of satellite engineering, Ian Dahl. We covered a whole bunch of stuff, really focused on what are the 3 limiting factors to making data centers in space a reality. First one we talked about was mass to orbit. That's where Starship comes in. We're going to need megatons into low Earth orbit, and we're going to be combining its full reusability and the really big payload capacity to launch the number of satellites that we're talking about, because we plan to deploy up to 1 million AI satellites, and those are going to function as those orbital data centers using Starship for the high volume, low cost launches. A couple of really key reasons why moving data centers to space has advantages over building them here on Earth, which gets into our second limiting factor, which is power generation. It's always sunny in space. Satellites can harness that sun, that near constant solar energy, which is really going to be the only way to scale if AI continues to grow at the pace that we see, especially when you contrast it with all of the challenges that you have here on Earth. Within about 2 to 3 years, we believe space-based AI compute is going to become the lowest cost option as those launch costs continue to drop and Earth-based constraints continue to grow. It's going to just transform how Earth powers AI, unlocks the future. And then our third limiting factor that we got to go figure out is going to be chips, and we got to do that fast. And that's what we're doing with TerraFab. That's going to be the most epic chip building effort ever. Not just churning out really cool advanced chips, but also building a massive scale location to do it. We're talking 100 million square feet, so about 10 Tesla gigafactories. All of this together sounds a bit fantastical, a bit out there, but these are real steps that we are taking right now that are going to set us up to eventually become a galactic civilization. That sounds really cool. I mean, harnessing meaningful amounts of power from the sun, supporting all of those AI applications that are going to change our daily lives, and making humanity a multi-planetary species. If you want to learn more, you can watch the full conversation on our website. Hopefully a link appears on the screen. If not, go look up StarMind. So the future is looking pretty sweet, but first things first, we've got Flight 13 ahead. Let's jump down to Kate and Nate for what's ahead.
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, the future is built on progressive steps like today's test. So let's dive into the flight profile that we're going to see today.
That's right. We've got an exciting day in store. So starting with liftoff, Super Heavy will ignite those 33 Raptor 3 engines right off of Pad 2 here in Starbase. We will then power through ascent ahead of hot stage separation, where the booster will shut down all but 5 engines at the bottom. Stage 2 will then light its own Raptor engines, pushing off from Super Heavy and starting our stage separation maneuver known as hot
used to only be
staging.
3.
We will then have the directional booster flip using 33 engines, and after coasting for a few minutes, the booster today will target a landing burn and ocean splashdown a few miles off the coast of Starbase.
Ship is going to keep the party going with its ascent burn to a suborbital trajectory, followed by deployment of those 20 Starlink V3 satellites. We also plan to relight a single Raptor engine. Re-entry is just a few minutes later, which should provide some amazing views thanks to Starlink. And typically we see some pretty fantastic views of the ship's blistering re-entry through the Earth's atmosphere. A plasma blanket will form around the vehicle and never prevails to provide epic scenes. And lastly, we'll conclude today's test with the landing flip, a landing burn, and a splashdown in the Indian Ocean. And with that, let's kick it over to Dan for a countdown update.
Thanks, Kate. Good news. We just heard from the flight director. We are T-minus 10 minutes. We're a little bit past that now, not tracking any issues for launch today. Range continues to be green. Our range team hard at work, making sure we're clear out in the Gulf and in the Indian Ocean, where we're going to be sending the Starship. Weather continues to be gorgeous. Again, no clouds. We scrubbed our attempt yesterday, or didn't even try yesterday, because we had such poor visibility. Weren't going to be able to see those tiles on the way up. That's a key kind of experiment objective for this flight today. And so we're looking really good with weather today. In the future, we'll see what kind of adverse weather we can fly into. We are capable and allowed to launch into lightning, but we're going to utilize that new capability carefully as we eventually continue to evolve Starship to fly it.
I want to see it get struck by lightning. Not see it explode, but just see it survive getting struck by lightning.
Tanks on the ship. We just started propellant load in the header tanks on Starship. Those are the two smaller ones up top that we'll hopefully be using for the in-space burn and a landing burn at the end of its mission. We started loading our propellant at about T-minus 35 minutes today, and we're going to continue all the way down until we're inside 3 minutes to launch. We'll close out at about T-minus 2 minutes and 50 seconds on booster, and then 2 minutes and 10 seconds on the ship. So at the moment, we're looking good. That launch time, 5:51 p.m. Central, a couple of minutes into our
that does answer
today.
one question of like.
So we'll be back real soon. Toss it
we
back
always
down
have
to
these
Kate and Nate.
Very
Dan.
strict launch
Recently,
criteria
NASA
for weather, but it
announced
sounds
the
like they're
astronauts
getting
for the
around
upcoming
that
Artemis 3 mission.
somehow.
The Artemis 3 mission
designing
is
it so it
crewed
doesn't
demonstration
matter as
mission
much
in low Earth
or at
orbit
all.
designed to demonstrate critical systems needed for future lunar landings. Astronauts Andre Douglas, Luca Parmitano, Randy Bresnik, and Frank Rubio, as seen there on your screen, they will crew the mission, and it's slated for 2027.
It's a great crew, and it's also the penultimate mission, the final test before Artemis 4 attempts to put astronaut boots back on the moon for the first time since 1972. We'll be launching a Starship with a docking port on the nose so we can practice rendezvous and docking with the crew. And one key test objective comes after docking, where we will be able to test out maneuverability of the vehicles together while in space. This has the new importance as the revamped plan for lunar landings used Starship to do the burn, sending astronauts to the moon from Earth orbit.
And one other cool ad, NASA is putting 2
Interesting to
SpaceX mini lasers on Orion to connect it to our Starlink constellation with the goal of enabling 4K imagery and video from the spacecraft while in space. So that's going to be pretty awesome to see.
Awesome views for sure.
Yeah, there's lots of excitement planned for next year as we all work together to send humans back to the moon. And speaking of sending humans to space, former SpaceXer and current NASA astronaut Anil Menon is actually up on the space station right now as part of Expedition 74. And he captured these sweet photos of Starbase during an ISS flyover. Hi, Anil. We're all waving back at you, buddy. It's awesome to see the whole picture here as there's lots of facility and infrastructure development going on, but Starbase isn't alone on that front.
Yeah, it changes every day.
Yeah.
But talking about other locations, work is well underway in Florida to get pads 39A and Slick 37A ready for future Starship launches potentially later this year. Starship launches from Cape Canaveral are key to hit the necessary launch cadence to get back to the moon, build a moon base, head to Mars, all the exciting stuff ahead in the future.
Yeah, exactly. And that future gets closer and closer with tests like today's flight. And with that, we are just under 6 minutes until launch. So that brings us to terminal count. Excitement is definitely gaining traction down here as the crowd is gathering just behind us on the lawn outside, and happy to say, still not a cloud in the sky. Dan, how are things up at Mission Control?
Things are still looking really good, Kate. We are still not tracking any holds on the board, no issues with the vehicle or with the pad. Our range continues to be green, both in the Gulf and out in the Indian Ocean for flight today. We'll continue monitoring that all the way down to the final minutes. We are going to be closing out our propellant loading on the booster and the ship within the next 3 minutes. We're going to have about 11.5 million pounds of liquid oxygen and liquid methane on both of those stages once we're all done. Then it'll be time for the pad to essentially ready itself, where we clear out all of the prop that's been flowing through feed lines up into the launch mount, up into the tower. Those go back into the propellant farm, get it ready, and we'll do those final thrust vector control, those steering checks as we get a little bit closer. If we need to hold that hold time, it's new for this launch, and we saw it briefly on our attempt last week. That hold is set at T-minus 60 seconds now. That's where we can pause, we can wait. If we need to just kind of hang out for any pressurizations, anything like that to clear, we've got a couple of minutes to hang there. We will only hold if there's an issue, and we're not tracking any holds on the board right now.
That's right. Now, once T-minus 60 seconds passes, a number of events will occur in rapid succession. Both the ship and booster will configure their comm systems for flight, and they will rapidly run leak checks on gas and fluid tanks. Meanwhile, the booster will be going into internal power, and its engines will get their final priming for launch. Those ship engines will also begin their ascent bleed profile, and it will arm its automatic flight safety system. There's a lot of mechanical activations on the tower side as well, with one critical step being unlatching of the quick disconnect, feeding propellant into the ship.
And once T-minus 60 seconds has passed, we still have the ability to rapidly recycle the count under certain conditions back to that T-minus 60 seconds point and hold there to assess what happened and if teams can proceed once again to T0. There's an estimated 5 to 8 minutes of hold time, and that's largely driven by the propellant temperatures that we see on the vehicle while holding. The flame diverter on pad 2, you can see it there at the base of Starship. That activates at T-minus 17 seconds. Now, if we trigger a hold after T-minus 17 seconds, that will result in a scrub for the day, as we've already turned on the water. Now, for those that have just recently tuned in, once again, our primary test objectives for today's test flight includes a successful liftoff, stage separation. We also plan to deploy 20 Starlink V3 satellites. We have real satellites on board. We expect to have about 20 minutes of available time to speed run some tests and really allow the Starlink engineers to put them to the test in that time.
That's right, and we also have the soft splashdowns planned for both the booster and the ship. Going to be super exciting to see if we can return those safely back, so that way we can get ready for tower catches again.
And just a quick check-in, we got our final green light from the range, not tracking any issues on ascent or out in the Indian Ocean for entry, so that was kind of the final go for flight that we wait for in these final minutes. Prop load now closing out on both vehicles. We have no holds on the board. Again, we've got that gate at T-minus 1 minute. We're only going to hold if there's a reason, and currently there are no reasons.
Coming up here in a few seconds, we should have, actually right there we can see on screen, that's the base of the Super Heavy booster.
You see
Those
the
are
wiggles?
the 33 Raptor engines, and we expect to see
There they go.
There they go, the TVC checkouts, also known as engine wiggles. We're activating those thrust vector control actuators to ensure that those center engines and the inner radius as well have the ability to steer the rocket.
Yep, super cool to see how fast those move. I mean, in flight, it's amazing to see how it steers the vehicle. And we're coming up on that T-minus 1 minute now on our countdown, so let's listen in to see if we pass that gate.
Yep.
All right,
the
we are through
pushback
the
sounds.
gate. Still no holds on the board. 50 seconds to go. Starship getting ready to fly.
Cross your fingers and toes.
Flight tractors go for launch.
Water's about to go. It goes.
-9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
There's 33 engines lit, and it's up. There we go. Let's roll. Hell yeah. God, that thing flies off the pad. Seems we can make that engine out this time. Lost one engine on the booster last time, and one on the ship. So, Yeah, one of the tests of this is they are not throttling down through max Q, which normally rockets do, because they want to test to see if they can handle it. And it did. It didn't blow up.
A minute now
So
into flight. Still seeing 33 out of 33 Raptor engines lit and burning. Our next major moment's going to be coming up in just a little.
You may
over
wonder
a
why they
minute
always
from now,
roll
when
coming
we're
off
gonna
the
get to hot
pad.
staging.
It's
We're
so
going
that they
to shut
roll
down all but
in the
5
away, so that
of
when you start
those
pitching down
engines
range,
on the booster. It's our version
natural
of MECO.
pitch
Most
down
engines
range.
cut
Like
off, and then we're
it's a
going to
designed
ignite
way
the 6
to
engines
make
on
sure
the
that
ship,
the ship is
to,
pointed
while it is
right
still attached, to
when
do
it
that
pitches.
separation. As a reminder, we try to do a directional flip.
Because
So
if you're not,
when
you
you
pitch the
watch on
wrong
your
way, and then you
screen,
don't
we're
go
hopefully
over
going to be sending
water
that booster
anymore.
towards the bottom of the frame. For the booster itself, it's like doing a flip up. It'll go towards the bottom of your frame. We do that by lighting the engines in a slightly staggered sequence.
Wow, look at the heat in there.
Standing by for hot staging.
All right, please flip correctly. Down to 5.
All but 5 engines down.
Engines on the ship look like they lit in the right order. The video's always behind. They all relit on the boost back, which means it probably flipped the right way this time.
And the booster now doing its
And down the outer ring's off.
33 initially. Now we're down to 13. We're seeing 6 out of 6 Raptors lit on the ship.
We already had a Raptor out on the ship last time, so that's good. It looks like boost back was good. I'm guessing it flipped right. It was hard to see. They didn't show this view when it separated.
That was one of the key objectives we didn't have on the last flight. And we've got 6 engines lit on the ship. All right, so that's the first of 2 burns that the booster is going to be doing to kind of send it back towards us. It's going to be landing a couple of miles offshore from Starbase, hopefully. We're going to try and get it all the way down to do a landing burn, where we're going to use those 13 center engines. They're going to ignite.
It's interesting watching the telemetry of the booster. It's slowing down because it's still going away from the launch site, but it's slowly coming back now. But it's still going up. That's why it's going down still in speed. It's going to start going back up as it starts coming back down. Now it's going to start coming back down and speed back up.
So booster's going to coast for a little bit. Ship still seeing 6 out of 6 Raptor engines lit. 4 minutes into the flight. Ship's got about 4 minutes left.
Oh, look at
Getting
that
some
view.
Killer views. Kate, Nate, how was the view from out
Oh man,
from down
there's
there?
there's the Mexico or Texas coast again.
It just shot off the pad, and seeing all the crowd now running back inside to take views on the screen here, it was amazing.
Yeah, one of these days I'm gonna learn to not stare at the engines, because now I have a bright blob in my vision. But now, speaking of vision, we could see both stages there on your screen.
You can see where it lifted off too. There's the launch site right here. That's all that's the plume from the exhaust. It's gonna land like right here-ish.
Still following the planned flight path as well.
Wow.
Beautiful views of planet Earth there behind the ship.
It never gets old.
That's right, and we're actually getting a live shot off the booster right now, an onboard camera. You can see the plume from Starbase where it just lifted off 5 minutes ago.
Oh man.
We are there.
We are there. That is us.
I kind of want to run back outside and wave.
Right. Now, again, this booster is not planning to come back to the tower or to launch site for this particular launch. We are going to be planning to do
Should have just done it. You should have just come back to the tower, but you know, they got to protect their assets. That thing's coming down fast too.
Pretty awesome to see the Raptor engines there on the left-hand side of your screen. We can actually see the plume there of those center Raptors. Those are the sea level ones, as well as the vacuum Raptors are the 3 on the larger ones on the outer radius.
Now, just like on tower catches, we are going to be doing a 13 engine landing burn to slow the booster down. Hopefully we can get a live camera of the booster right now as we're going into that phase.
Yes,
awesome
please.
shot. You can see it there. So right now the booster is using their 3 hypersonic grid fins to guide itself through the atmosphere.
Why can't they show a picture further up at the grid fins? That'd be so cool to see those things wiggling.
Right here.
Oh, they didn't get all 13 started. That's not going to be good.
Startup for the booster.
Nope. It was not a good landing burn.
The crowd's about to go wild here.
Yeah, because it should have. Yeah, and boom. It should have lit all 13 and basically hovered for a second and then dropped from a few hundred feet into the ocean, but it didn't do that. So they got some work on that. But hey, improvement from the last flight. I'll take it.
To go well with ship,
but what that means is they're not going to do a tower catch next flight either, because that did not work right. Unless they're confident what the problem was,
about a minute
they won't do a tower catch.
With the ship engines on, just looking at the booster real quick, it didn't look like we lit all 13 engines that we were planning for that initial landing burn. We were targeting a softer splashdown, and as you saw, it came in with quite a bit of velocity still. So landing velocity did look a little bit high, but really cool to make it all the way back this time to that landing burn. We'll dig in, figure out how to turn on all those engines, and then get to a full landing soon. But all eyes on ship. We are just a little ways away from getting those engines turned off. We expect it to burn about 8 minutes and change in, so hopefully just about 15 minutes to go. Sounds like we just got the
you just heard the explosion at Starbase of the booster off the shore.
And
engine shut off. All right.
Starship 6 Raptor engines.
Well, it's better than last flight. I would have loved that
nominal orbit insertion
landing burn to have been better,
and
but
our call out for nominal orbit insertion. So we got a ship in space. We've got a booster in the Gulf where we were planning to send it. It's a hell of a start to the day, Kate.
Yeah, it sure is. All of our colleagues here are filing in through the doors. A lot of people wanted to stay outside and hear the boom. And so it's pretty great to see a ship in space, and everybody's super excited down here.
That's right. And as guaranteed, it has been an awesome day so far. All this action in just 9 minutes now. And objectives are done for the booster. Just want to quickly flag that booster did land in a clear zone. We clear those before launch, well ahead, so that we ensure everyone is safe.
It was basically coming almost straight down at that point. It just didn't stop itself. So it landed where they wanted it to. It just didn't. Not at the speed they wanted it to.
And enjoy the space views and, of course, the space jams. We'll be back here at T+14 minutes to deploy our payload, which is 20 of our newest Starlink version 3 satellites. So we'll see you soon.
I'm gonna mute their music so I don't get copyrights. Well, it's unfortunate potentially for a ship or a booster catch next flight, because I think that was the expectation of what was going to happen, was a booster catch. But they could do it. I mean, they technically did that the first catch. They did like, well, let's try it, and they did, and then they caught it. So I wouldn't put it past them to try it if they find a really obvious root cause for them not all lighting there. I feel like it's going to have something to do with fuel starvation or fuel slosh, because it's the first time on this version of the booster that they actually had a proper, okay, we're coming back to do a landing burn. The last flight didn't count. That thing, the engines, they went through some crap, and they were not going to relight. So that time they at least had the chance, but I feel like this was their first actual, let's see how the fuel behaves in this new, because this was a completely new innards on that booster. Like they have the Falcon 9 size methane transfer tube from the methane tank down to the booster in there. Now it's the first time they've used that. Different plumbing down at the bottom for both methane and liquid oxygen. The landing tanks are, I think the landing tanks are down there too, but it's also a redesign of the landing tanks that are used for that landing burn. And I'm guessing something happened there that was unexpected, that just didn't provide enough fuel for them all to light. So it may be a simple fix and they're comfortable with trying it next time. I don't know, but close. It looked like there was probably 8 or 9 engines of the 13 lit. I forget if there was like 3 or 4 or how many were not lit on that initially, but and some shut down shortly after they started. But it does start at 13 and then go down to 5 and then 3 or something like that. So maybe part of that was okay. It didn't get them all at the beginning. I don't know. This is why it's called rocket science. It's not easy. But they're getting the flip reoriented, the ship reoriented with they're kind of flipping it. So the expectation here is right here you can see the side of the Pez dispenser. So they're getting that pointed up towards space so they can spit out the Starlinks. And there's 6 of the 20 Starlink V3 satellites have cameras on them this time, and they all have. They're basically Starlink V3 satellites, and they're going to try to actually connect them into the Starlink network while they're up there for the 20 minutes they're up there. So I think the expectation that we all have is that because it's going to connect to the Starlink network, we may have more than just those few seconds that we got last time of the Dodger dogs, as they called them, coming out of the ship. Because I guess those Dodger dogs were probably talking wirelessly somehow to the ship, and once they got to a certain distance from the ship, that's all she wrote, right? So if these ones actually connect to the Starlink network, then they can transmit data directly to the Starlink network and back the whole time. And all of this fuzz, not fuzz, but the fog you're seeing, they're venting the remaining liquid oxygen and methane out because they don't need it in the main tanks. They have header tanks up at the top of the ship, which is where they use for the landing burn, and then the in-flight relight and everything. But there's just no need for the rest of it, so they vent it out. In the future, when they start doing the tanker stuff for getting to the moon and beyond, that extra fuel will get transferred into, I would assume, that would get transferred into the fuel depot instead of just expended. So basically, Starship is farting right now since it's letting out methane. I think they let out the methane. I know they let out the oxygen for sure. I assume they do it at different times in case there's an ignition. They tried to vent some of the oxygen on some of the early flights of Starship. They tried to vent some of the propellant while the engines were still lit on ascent, and learned not to do that because it may or may not have caught fire and caused some problems. So they stopped doing that. I could have told you that wouldn't have been a great idea. But hey, maybe they thought, well, let's try. There's a chance it'll be okay. There's some nerd in the corner was like, actually, if we try this, it could be okay. And they tried it, and then it wasn't. And that nerd doesn't work for SpaceX anymore. No, I doubt they let you go if you make a mistake because this is a test program. They are probably open for novel ideas that end up working. Oh, the Pez dispenser door is open.
Sorry about that. These will only be in space for about 20 minutes as they're on the same suborbital trajectory as Starship itself. This is essentially just giving us a chance to try and
They couldn't
run
even get
as
the
many
door
tests
open the
as
first
possible,
time they tried to open the door.
deploy the solar arrays, antennas, whatever we can on these vehicles. We are intentionally being a little scrappy with it. They might be playing some bumper cars once they're out of the door, but we are looking to get these deployed over the next couple of minutes. In the meantime, they're getting ready to also do the Raptor in space relight. Listening to a little bit of conversation on that, but we are currently tracking to do it. I'll give you some updates if we hear otherwise.
There we go. The first V3 Starlink satellite leaving now.
See our first Starlink V3 getting deployed out of Starship. Huge milestone for the team out here.
Well, they've been waiting to do that for a couple of years now.
About this, we could see these Starlink V3s continuing to pop out with deployment assisted by the Pez dispenser. Now, this version of Starship is.
Now, when he was talking about bumper cars, there's a good chance they bump into each other because they're just testing a bunch of different things, and some of them may work and some may not work, and some may deploy their solar arrays and some may not.
Let's put that into Falcon 9 terms real quick. A Starship launch with V3 satellites will launch 20
but they are all on a
times
path
the
to
capacity
demise into the
constellation
atmosphere
as a single launch
in
of
about 20
V2
minutes. So
satellites on Falcon 9,
they're not
which
going to
is
stay up there
incredible.
even if they do hit each other.
Anybody that follows Starship, you know that the views that we're being treated to right now, the views we get during those re-entries, that's made possible by Starlink. It's given us just this unprecedented look into Starship as it's flying through space, hurtling through the atmosphere. It's powering the dozens of cameras we have on board. It's giving us real-time data on every system that's telemetered on board that vehicle in real time. We use the exact same constellation to power all of our cameras that we have out in the field here in the Indian Ocean. So really powerful technology for just connecting you no matter where the heck you are on the planet, off the planet. So thank you, Starlink, for letting me watch this stuff as we fly through space. It's pretty awesome. We get about 240 megabits per second of data rate off Starship, which everybody in the spaceflight community knows that's pretty insane when you're usually dealing with single digits on some of the older systems. So gives you a lot of insight, gives you a lot of ability to just rapidly iterate, know what the heck happened when things go wrong. But
the Deep Space Network that they used on Artemis, you didn't get that.
We do have cameras
maybe it got
on
one.
some of them.
Did not get much.
The last couple that are going to go out are going to try and do the heat shield imaging that we attempted last flight. We don't have that camera view that we got on Flight 12 where you kind of see the satellite leaving Starship. Those aren't on the V3 satellites. But we are going to, on the last couple that go out, have some pretty narrow field view cameras that are going to be looking back at Starship, turn on some flashlights. And this is a test of a capability that we're really going to want when we start doing orbital flights, to just add that extra layer of safety, that extra layer of reliability, where we're going to be able to image Starship's heat shield after it's gone through ascent, after it's been in space, before it re-enters. So we're going to try to test that again today. The heat shield imaging, we didn't get a whole lot last time. Ooh, looks like we got some thunderstorms on planet Earth below us. But a couple more satellites to go, it looks like.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Now what they need is to put some low light cameras on here.
Colleagues. And we expect payload deploy.
Yeah, you can see, I was seeing it up here. There's some lightning up here.
7 minutes.
It might go away by the time we see it again, but there was some
The Starlink team will be attempting to speed run these tests, or excuse me, speed run test these version 3 satellites, where they will attempt to do a few tests such as extend
there's
the
some
new
more lighting
solar
in there, yep.
arrays and antennas. They're also going to try and connect these V3 satellites with ground stations and turn on the satellite's communication systems. Now, they're only going to have about 20 minutes or so to do all of this, as these satellites only have that long before they demise in the atmosphere or break up due to that friction when they re-enter the atmosphere. So what we learn from today's deployment will help progress and
imagine what we'll see when this is done is this
you could
orientation down here. I'm guessing they'll
data,
spin the the ship
we're getting
so the
very
shield's on the
Inception
other
here.
side, so that those cameras
now, in
can see it.
addition to those tests for Starlink, for the Starlink team, as Dan mentioned, 6 of the satellites have been modified with engineering cameras to help scan Starship's heat shield. That will help inform our
I have lost count
analysis
of how many
Starship's
they
readiness for
launched
future catch returns back here at our launch site. So for those that might be unfamiliar, we are currently capable of catching our super heavy booster, and we've done that a couple of times. We have not yet attempted to catch our second stage or ship, and so that is going to be a very exciting milestone when that day comes.
For sure, and we're building up to it with today's tests. We are still planning to do our water splashdown in the Indian Ocean, so stay tuned for that. That's only about 40 minutes away. But still in space, we keep on deploying our Starlink satellites. Again, these are our V3 version of our Starlink satellites, a whole host of added capabilities to our version 2 that's currently in orbit.
And this is our team here at Starbase Texas.
These are all of the team members that have helped build the vehicle, that have built the Pez dispenser, and got it ready to fly today. Amazing work.
Now, for those of you that have just recently tuned in, there is a spaceship in your screen, we promise. Right now, the ship is in orbital darkness, so we don't have any available sunlight from the sun to help illuminate the scene. But what you can see moving out from that smally lit space, those are the V3 satellites as they are being deployed. And essentially, the ship is illuminated from the inside, and so we're able to see the light come out through the payload door.
Right. Just a really small sliver
Interesting
of light
watching
at
the
top.
after-hours
That's our Pez
trading
dispenser.
of
That's
the
how we're
SpaceX stock
both loading our satellites
and
into
reacting
the rocket
to the
and
different
deploying
stages
it.
of flight.
Pretty novel.
Like when the booster didn't do its landing
We've got
burn,
about 3.5
dropped
minutes
pretty
still
big.
left of our payload.
But now that the
deploy
ship got up
sequence.
there good, it's going back up. Like, oh, okay, maybe it's okay.
16 satellites deployed, so 4
That's
more
what happens
to
when
go.
you put people that don't know anything about
These last
space
couple
in charge
will
of
have
your
those
money.
cameras, so if you
Trading.
see any sudden bright lights, that'll be flashlights turning on those satellites to try and get some imagery of Starship's heat shield. 17 out the door. 3 more to go, and 18. All right, and while we wait for these last 2, we did confirm we are still go for our Raptor relight demonstration a little bit later in the flight today, so we will be looking to relight one of those Raptor engines on ship. And that'll be our next major milestone after we get through these final 2 satellites.
Just at 25 minutes into our flight, it's crazy to think that we're already screaming at 27,000 kilometers an hour, 200 kilometers above the ocean surface. Amazing.
Yeah.
Not quite 27,
that,
we'd be in orbit.
Lost
but
count.
we're in
We have
suborbit.
deployed almost all of our 20 Starlink satellites. I believe our last count was at 18, so we should be seeing 2 more. And we're very excited to see our version 3 satellites in space. And these are fully, like, these are real satellites.
Right.
They're not just demonstration sats like we had last time. These are going to basically have a 20-minute lifespan where our Starlink engineering team will attempt to perform a number of tests and really speed run those tests during that time.
Right. And in terms of satellite lifespans, 20 minutes is it's the shortest you could possibly get, but hopefully in that 20-minute time frame we can really try and ink out
You
as
see
many
some
tests
flashlights
as we can.
turning on.
It looks like we might have some, this might actually be light from one of the Starlink satellites. As we mentioned before, a few of them, 6 of them actually are equipped with flashlights to look back at Starship, as we want to image the heat shield and understand the heat shield performance through the ascent phase, as this information is very important for us to know and understand as we prepare for operations that will enable ship to come back to Starbase for landing. For catch, I should say.
Right. And we are about 40
Lands
seconds away from that
on very
planned
tiny rails.
payload deployment sequence being complete.
Yep, looks like we've just got those last 2 to go. These ones
More
might
light.
be coming out. Oops, they're starting to see motion.
There we go. Getting worried there for a second.
19 out the door, one more.
It looks like we got a crowd at our Hawthorne, California location. Some colleagues gathering outside of Mission Control there as
Now
well.
the door should close, and I'm guessing
marks,
it's
if
going
I'm
to
not
start
mistaken, our
rotating
20th.
the ship.
So our payload deploy sequence is now complete. Starship will now close its payload bay door and continue to coast around Earth to the Indian Ocean. Still a lot of major events to come today, including our Raptor relight burn at T plus 38 minutes, 58 seconds, followed by atmospheric re-entry, where the
Lots
heat
of
shield
light.
will be put
Nice.
to test, and eventually our splashdown. So with that, we're gonna go ahead and go on to another quick coast.
Yeah, so sit tight, enjoy the views, and of course some more space jams, and we will come back here at T plus 37 minutes for our Raptor engine relight and of course Starship re-entry.
9 more minutes. Interesting. It's a lot of light on it that we haven't had before. I mean, that tank still looks cold, because this is one of the tanks. This is the methane here, and the oxygen's down here. They still look a little frosty somehow. And that's a good thing when it comes to avoiding a burn. Oh, you can see satellite right here moving around. I wonder if it is... Okay, so you see the ship is rotating. It's rotating in the different direction I thought it was going to, but I guess it had to go 180 degrees, one of the two directions, just do it the other way. Doors closed. You see satellite up here too. That's crazy looking. And all these satellites have little ion thrusters on them, so they can move around to some degree. And the tiles look pretty darn good. I don't see anything missing that's obvious. You can definitely tell they're on the other side of the heat shield now getting imaging because it's bright down here. Good. I'm glad they're getting it. And you can look at the orientation here. We're completely upside down now. This is not the way we want to re-enter because we'd be heat shield up, and that's not going to be any good. But we'll flip it back. But it looks like they're getting good imaging, which was definitely one of the flight objectives. So that's good. Progress. Now I want to see the same progress out of Blue Origin. They're working on their pad after their explosion. Ooh, lightning down there. What I really want to see is HLS stuff from SpaceX, but we haven't seen anything. Yeah, look at this. There's a satellite down here. Looking up at the bottom of it. Holy bright lights. Those are not natural lights. Typo on one of my messages. That is this one. I guess they're done. Lights are off. Starting to come back into orbital day. We're about over Africa. Well, no, orbital day's got a little ways to go. I think we better get to the other side of Africa before we get to orbital day. Let's see. Oh, we got ways to go, actually. So we're about here. We've still got to get all the way over here before we get to daytime. So it's got a ways before we get daylight. What was that light? It was one of the satellites doing something. That was off bottom left. Not even part of the ship.
Welcome back once again to the Flight 13 webcast. If you're just joining us, our newest version of Starship, which you see there on your screen, successfully deployed 20 Starlink version 3 satellites.
You
And
may
I've
just
got
be
great
getting
news
some
to share.
reflection
Not only
from
were we
the
able to
sun
make
now.
contact with
Now that
all
I think
20,
about it.
but we also made comms over lasers with all of them as well. So that is awesome. Hell yeah, shout out to our Starlink team. We're so
Nice.
thrilled.
All the
Huge
Starlinks
milestone, and
work.
that's only 3 minutes or 5 minutes after deploying them. I mean,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Amazing. And right now, we are expecting a relight of a single Raptor engine, and that's going to be coming up in just over a minute and a half from now.
That's right. We are going to be lighting one of our sea level Raptor engines, and this is essentially just a demonstration that you can relight an engine after it's already done its ascent burn. And this is going to be really important when we do maneuvers for orbital missions, whether we're relighting to go into orbit, or if you're already in orbit and you're getting ready to do a deorbit burn. We did hear our Raptor team is go for the engine relight, so not going to be skipping it on this one. So we should see that coming up in just about 45 seconds from now. Again, this is not a deorbit burn for this ship. We are on a suborbital trajectory, so this Starship is coming back over the Indian Ocean no matter what. But this is going to be a pretty critical test for what we'll eventually need to do when we do orbital missions. When you got to relight
There's
those
not a
engines,
satellite. Like
do
there's a
burn
satellite
to
right
get
here,
yourself out
back
of
behind
orbit.
it.
One thing that is unique on this
I
one
get a little
is we're going to
toasty.
be lighting it for a little bit longer of a time. We're expecting this burn to be up to about 14 seconds. We've only done about 3 seconds previously. And so that should be coming up within the next couple of seconds. Let's stand by.
One's on.
Relight demo startup.
It's moving. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a longer one. Heck yeah. Look at that. Look at the
You
colors.
see relight there on your screen.
Wow.
Wow. That was a full duration.
And confirmation over the net. Relight shutdown. The burn has ended. Congrats to the team on this
That was
milestone.
pretty. That was cool.
I mean, it's crazy to see how we can maneuver in space, and just another icing on the cake for today's mission. So we're going to be taking another quick break. We'll be back in a couple of minutes before
So
re-entry,
while we
which is
might not
targeted
get a
for
catch on
about
the
T
next
plus
flight,
47 minutes. So we'll see
you
you soon.
may go orbital, which would be big. Because if they can't go orbital, it's a worthless ship at that point. But I think we might go orbital next time. You can see the lights of Africa down below as we go over it. We're going over the east coast of Africa. About to go over Madagascar in a little bit. That was cool looking. Once this is down, we'll have to go back, and I'm just curious. I want to rewatch how many engines lit on that landing burn. I also want to look. So 47:30 is when we start re-entry. And then it re-enters for a good 18 minutes, 17 minutes. Okay, so the super heavy landing burn. It was supposed to last for What is that math? 26 seconds? It did not last 26 seconds. So we'll go back and see what actually happened. They don't have a breakdown of if they were going to light 13 and then down to 5, or it was just going to stay 13. I don't know. I think it does go back down to 5. And then eventually just the 3 middle. But they don't have that detail in here. It's almost a perfect flight so far. Really needed to be perfect. I was really hoping for just everything to work. I got close, but close doesn't cut it for space flight. Investors are happy at the moment with the relight working. It's just funny watching it go up and down. I don't know, Bob. Does that look normal to you? No? Sell. Oh. Talking again? Nope. Starting to get some colors. I think a lot of that is just vapor with sunlight. Because we're past Madagascar now. We're starting to get some daylight. That's a little pink, though. I forget when I said they were going to come back. 47:30 is when it starts re-entry. I wish I would have shown this view during the relight.
Welcome back once again to Starship Flight 13.
I can hear him talking.
Test flight of Starship version 3. As you can see by these pretty cool views on your screen, the ship is currently re-entering the Earth's atmosphere. Now, we probably have some first-time viewers tuning in today, so let's talk about this phase.
Right, so re-entry, it's a critical phase of flight, and we need information on how the ship's systems perform. So re-entry, you can see that speed in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. We have to scrub all of that speed down so that way we can safely land. It's a lot of energy to be able to scrub down, and it's all the energy that we just used to launch the rocket as well. So Starlink will also help us gather as much data as possible, which is really the main reason why we do these flight tests, is to see how the ship performs in space and evaluate how it works. Starlink provides us with one more path to collect data to help us rapidly iterate Starship's design.
Yeah, exactly. And if the ship manages to again make it all the way through re-entry, we'll collect valuable data on the spacecraft flying through the Earth's atmosphere, and it's doing so at hypersonic speeds, or more than 5 times the speed of sound. Re-entry is typically a portion of flight where we don't have communications with spacecraft because it's re-entering at or around orbital velocity, which is roughly 8 kilometers per second or about 5 miles per second. So at those speeds, the spacecraft is moving through the atmosphere so fast that it creates a plasma field around the vehicle.
That
does look like they've lost a couple. These aren't critical tiles, these are test tiles.
So it's
Those
not
look like they
uncommon
lost
to
a few
experience
here. I
brief
thought I saw
blackouts in communication. Starship
one or
is
two
designed
fly
to land on
off
Mars where there are
when
no
they first got
runways
into
or
orbit.
other humans to help out, which is
I think it was
exactly
probably
why
just
we're
those ones
testing
off of
this
the
landing procedure that we're doing today.
back side of the flap that
And
were
we're doing
test
these
tiles.
propulsive landings instead of more traditional means like parachutes.
Some people on the
because
ground are like,
propulsive
thank
landing-
God something failed, because
Heard
nothing
that
was
call out,
failing. We
flaps
didn't know
do
what
have
actually
control
worked
of
and
the
what
vehicle.
didn't
You
work.
can actually see one view, your screen moving around. That's actually a camera affixed to the flap. So as I was saying, we're testing these, doing these landings instead of more traditional means, so that way propulsive landing we can enable more rapid reusability.
Yeah. Now, we did just hear that call out. We should continue to hear some call outs as the ship makes its way back to Earth. Now, when we hear something called entry max heating, as well as entry max Q, that means that the ship has made it through the maximum heating and aerodynamic loads that it experiences as it returns. So, safe to say that if it makes it through those specific points, we're doing pretty well.
That's right. So we'll continue to hear multiple callouts as we go through this phase. One of those callouts will be that the ship
Heat
is
building up here, it
transonic.
looks.
We'll also
It could
hear
be
another one
light
when it's
reflecting,
subsonic.
but
Transonic
it looks
will be
kind of
referring
reddish.
to the period of flight where velocities of airflow surrounding and flowing past the vehicle are concurrently below
could just be reflection,
at
though.
and above the speed of sound, so somewhere in the range of Mach 0.8 to 1.2. For reference, commercial jets have a range of cruising speeds, but most fly at roughly Mach 0.74,
Because I don't know that that's actually in the
0.85.
heat.
Just for reference, that's between 480 miles per hour to 575 miles per hour, or 770 to 930 kilometers an hour. And subsonic, another call out that you'll hear later on in the stream, subsonic will refer to speeds that are much less than the speed of sound. So at this point in flight, the ship's velocity
It does
will
have
be
very
slowing down
bright
drastically.
here. It could just be reflecting off
with
of that.
re-entry well underway, we'll take another break.
Be an
and
odd
return
spot to
just
have that
before the
happening.
ship's landing
though.
burn, targeted for T plus 1 hour and 5 minutes.
Stop your venting. Such a smooth picture when you're not venting. Stop it. And these are the catch pins, if you want to call them pins, but that's where when it lands on the tower eventually, this is where it's going to catch. What are we looking at here? That was a weird cam. I didn't get my bearings to understand what I was looking at there. I just realized you guys can't see the orientation behind me very well. Oh well. I'm not doing anything right now. It's just sitting at an angle. Okay, what is this? This is the top flap because of the shape of it. So this is up near the nose. So I think it's, if I'm looking at this right, it's behind where this camera is, higher up the nose, because this is the bottom of it, because this is the Pez dispenser. And then the fuel tank's below that and everything, but I think I'm looking at this right. Yeah. It's such a weird angle. You can see the heat build up on the tiles here. All I've seen so far are the little bits like here that I see coming out. It's one of two things to me. It's either little bits of ice getting burnt as it falls off, or it's the little crunch wrap that they put between the tiles that they right now they just manually cut and level it out, but it can burn off as the tiles expand and squish it out. Well, that's getting hot there. Man. That's why those tiles are there though. So it can get hot. It's so funny watching these traders. I bet you they're looking and go, that's not good sell. Everybody that sells their stock because they don't know what they're doing misses out on millions one day. I want that other view from the flap. Yeah, we're definitely looking at the bottom. I think this is the catch pin. This is the bottom end of it. This takes surprisingly little heat compared to this. With this catch pin, but it's just far enough up off the side. It probably just doesn't get hit by much. It's taking a little bit. It is a little orange. Now that I'm looking at it. Man, if they could get control authority with the flap by moving it even further back, that would take this so much pressure off that spot. But I don't think they can at this point. Past flights you would see in the parts where the flap met the ship, it just burning through like crazy, but they've obviously done a tiny bit of reinforcing there. I feel like they're getting through max heating because this isn't as bright as it used to be. Browser window.
We're on the quieter side because
no, I want to hear you. I want to see your. Ooh, you can start seeing the clouds underneath now. We're getting into daytime. Yeah, we're definitely through max heating because it's not pink anymore. It's just turning yellow. Or it's just not as visible because we are getting the daylight. I don't know. Could be both. But this feels like it's not as hot looking down here anymore. I don't know. I could be hallucinating. They are getting close to their landing zone, so I think we're through the heating point at this bit. Nope, that's still music. Cool seeing the sunlight on the sides of the clouds like that. Burning off that speed now. It's still hot now that I can see it again. It's still hot there. I mean, we are going through the thick atmosphere now. Like we're not just going through the top of the atmosphere. We're still going damn fast, and there's a lot of molecules now in the air. I don't see anything weird down the side of the ship there.
The peak heating phase of entry. External temperatures are coming down.
Yeah, it's exit peak heating, what you just said. Yeah, I mean, all the glowing is just gone. I mean, like, all right, whatever.
Starship is at maximum entry dynamic pressure.
Well, it still has its shape. Nothing looks weird. There's ice still on this camera, I guess. Somehow. Or it is melted plastic or something around the edges. I don't know. Or just gunk. Some buildup. I mean, it looks like it's been through hell, but I mean, it literally went through it. That's what the shuttle looked like every time it came back too. And they reused it. Not rapidly, but they reused it. Curious about the longevity of these different vents going through that. It's not where the heat shield tiles are, but it does get warm there. I'm sure they would love. Okay, so now we're doing our bank maneuver.
Starship is executing the swoosh maneuver.
Yep.
Dynamic pressure
This
is
is
coming
it.
down.
It's like a little bit of their. This is just cloth. This is like thermal cloth. It looks like a little bit of that's coming up right there. But they can fix that.
Flight 13, the second flight of Starship version 3. As you can see on your screen with crisp views from Starlink, the ship is currently re-entering the Earth's atmosphere over the Indian Ocean. And really for the last several minutes, we had some amazing Technicolor views. It really
not
looked
last
like it was
the thick atmosphere.
Now, we did hear on the nets just moments ago that we made it through max heating and max dynamic pressure, meaning that the vehicle temperature and speeds and pressure are all coming down, and we can see that in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen as that speed continues to decelerate. We're coming up to the ship landing burn. One of pretty much everybody's favorite part of Starship test flight days. And that's going to be coming up here in just about a minute or so.
Yeah, just about a minute away. We're going to try and light all 3 Raptor sea level engines for this burn. We'll light 3, do the flip. We'll eventually go down to 2 as we get close down to the water, down mode to a final 1 engine before we hopefully execute a nice soft splashdown. We'll see if we've got our buoys and drones in range with the recovery team. They're going to be standing by to try and get some additional views of Starship's heat shield, which from kind of our initial looks, it did pretty well on the flight uphill, but we'll continue to dig through all the visual data as we get it. We didn't do any real stress tests or anything on this flight. We did do,
back to come back toward the
landing Larsh flight controller call out. We were doing the swoosh maneuver. This is kind of the final maneuver that we plan to have Starships returning to Starbase do, that will essentially hook them out over the Gulf before coming in and over Tower 2. But about 10 seconds away, look for 3 Raptors, the 3 in the middle, to light up, do a flip. Let's see if we can get this thing in the water.
Well, it's going in the water. It's just will it go slowly into the water. There's 3. We got sound.
3 sea levels lit. Seeing healthy chamber pressures on. Did our flip.
There's a buoy.
Starship
oh my goodness.
Into the Indian Ocean.
Wow, look at that view of the tiles. Boom.
And we're in the water.
Oh, it didn't blow up?
And
what?
Soft splashdown in the water.
Oh, a little fire. They're going to get that drone in that fast, I imagine, because that's probably the first time they will have seen the top of that.
Ever had with the Starship there in the Indian Ocean.
I was going to say.
It's going to be an exciting day for our recovery team. I mean, that huge milestone to even get to soft splashdown, much less have the vehicle stay afloat.
Yeah,
it's not a happy vehicle because it's on fire. But yeah, I'm sure they're like, get the drone over there now, get pictures before it blows. If we lose the drone, who cares? We'll get you a new one, buddy. Wow, it's just floating. It didn't pop. So it's just not, they're going to have to pop it to sink it.
I want to check in with Tyler.
Wow.
Tyler, how is Hawthorne feeling about Lucky Flight 13?
Hey,
I'll go back. I don't stop talking. I don't care. Show the ship more.
And those gorgeous Starlink views that we had, and we can also confirm that we were
You can see, look at the pictures behind there. They've got pictures still from the ship
so it's a
coming in
day for
because
us.
it didn't
So
pop.
Congratulations to everyone at the team at Starbase,
What
for Starlink,
the?
everyone here and around the company who've contributed to the Starship program as we make progress again towards
They like
a
zoom in.
multi-planetary future. So
Can the
thank you,
drone
everyone,
zoom
for tuning in.
anymore?
That's a goodbye
Like
from
turn
Tyler.
around, yeah.
See you guys at Starbase.
Thanks so much, Tyler.
Wait, it's getting hot
Now,
there. Hang on,
for
let me
anyone who
turn.
perhaps missed the action, I suggest
No.
that you rewind the
Oh
crowd.
my
Wow.
God.
Look at that view of the
Wow.
Starship shield tiles. You can really see
Oh
how
my
the
God.
atmospheric re-entry,
That is like, they couldn't
how
have
it
asked for
disperses
better
the heat
data right now. This
around
is
the edge of the
incredible.
vehicle. I don't think we've seen quite that close before.
Never. And honestly, however short-lived that ship standing, bombing in the water
Wow.
is, that is insane data for our team. It's unbelievable that we were able to keep that ship afloat. Now, we promised maximum excitement, and Starship
How did it
V3
not
delivered.
pop?
Congratulations
It
to all
probably,
of our
maybe it
teammates
didn't
at
pop because it
SpaceX
didn't have
and
as much
everyone who supported the
fuel left
Starship
in the header
program.
tanks.
And thank you to all of our future
That was from the
customers
camera on
for
the
your
flap.
support.
Yeah, as you could tell, the crowd really enjoyed that Nemo cam.
Because
for a
they did the
moment.
in-flight burn.
We'd also like to thank the fine people of Cameron County, as well
Look
as
at
the
that.
Coast Guard,
Oh
the
my
Federal Aviation
God.
Administration, and the government of Mexico.
The amazing views.
Please
do
don't
not
cut the
end,
stream.
so
Let
be
us
sure
see
to
this.
Follow SpaceX on X for updates and more of these exciting shots that we didn't get to feature on today's broadcast.
And to get an inside real-time look into the
Wow.
teams bringing this incredible rocket to life, check out the latest
I
episode
can't
of our
believe it
documentary
didn't
series,
explode.
Starship. And of course, thanks to all of you for tuning in.
No.
And we're gonna head back up to Dan for some additional thoughts.
Yeah, I'm losing my mind right now. We are still getting views from on board the ship with it in the water. Like, we had tried in the past to do these splashdowns as softly as possible. We experimented with rolls. This is the first time we've put an intact Starship in the water. This is a dream scenario for the team that's trying to get this heat shield data. Normally you're working with a slightly charred Starship in the water. And now we have one intact. So the recovery team is moving in with their drones, and that we are still getting views from Starship. It is sending these via Starlink from the other side of the world while it is floating in the water
Upside
after flying
down.
through space. Like, this is just completely surreal right now. This is just a mountain of data that we're going to get back. This is going to be so critical for refining the heat shield, everything else. And the really good news is all of these views that we're seeing, you're looking at a pretty intact looking heat shield, which, as a reminder, we were flying at a significantly higher dynamic pressure, so putting way more stress on this vehicle on the way uphill. And it's sitting there.
Couple
in the
missing
water,
there, you can
and,
see.
I mean, look at it. So
It's pretty darn good.
I'm a little bit over the moon on this. I know a lot of our team is just
Yeah, I mean,
fascinated in the control
it's
room
not
behind
perfect,
me.
but I mean,
everybody is psyched. Everyone's gathered around their computers looking at these close-ups that we're getting of these heat shield tiles. 18,000 of them. I mean, you can probably count the ones that are missing right now on one hand. Like, this is just absolutely incredible.
it's
And the
designed
fact that,
to
like, the
take
cameras
missing
on board the
tiles.
ship
That's
are
the whole
still
point of
sending
it.
back
But
video is just a little bit surreal. So,
and then they can just repin new ones on if they
lucky
needed
number
to.
13. Hell of a flight for Starship. Get it all the way there in the water. Really great day for version 3. So, whew.
Well, that's floating whatever the current's taking it.
As Kate and Nate said,
it's not
going to
sink. If there's not a hole in it, that thing is designed to be airtight. So,
keep following us on X at SpaceX.
I mean, I guess they could probably, if it functions, open the PEZ door and let water in, but I don't think they're going to because they're going to want to get all this data. Wow.
We'll see you all back here for the
very edge there. You can see some tiles that came out.
3. With that, we'll say goodbye.
I mean, that's the hottest part. That's like the very leading edge. No, those views. Oh man, That's crazy. All right. Look at those engines. That's crazy. Yeah, there's gonna be this part here is the part that I really thought is definitely is one of the hottest parts because it's like the leading edge at the bottom of the ship coming in. I figured that's probably going to be the hardest one to get protected properly. What we don't know though is were any of these blown off during hot staging, and it may have been hot staging that blew them off. We'd never had a picture of it. They probably do from the satellites now, so they may already know that those are from hot staging or not. That's definitely one of the hottest spots. That's crazy that it didn't pop. He was saying they tried everything to try to get it to not pop in past flights, and it's to get as soft as they could. Last flight, they tried to do this like little pirouette spin things. Like if we get it down and then we flip it this way, and then it tips this way, and it popped. This one, I don't know what they did this time. Whatever they did, that was the softest it's ever been. Let's see. Got a few little tiles here and there with little chunks missing. But there's not like wide swaths of them missing. It's designed to take missing a few tiles. Because the plasma still just kind of goes over it, and then there's a backup layer underneath. That's the white crunch wrap layer is behind it to have a second layer of protection. Just sitting there sloshing in the ocean. It's funny. That's so cool. Come on, go back. Definitely a couple missing here. That takes I mean, it feels like anywhere you see the white, that's where the crunch wrap started burning. It got to with the heat. But you can see all the white between here. It's exposed, so you're going to get a lot of that. But this just looks like it. That's interesting there. Looks like they happened on both sides. The nose looks fantastic. The top flaps don't look bad either. Just the bottom ones look like they had a few bits. I'm sure it's not. This drone guy was like, you don't pay me enough to track this thing. The underwater pictures are great. It's above water and then it sinks under. It's great. Wow. I want to see that come back down again. Let's see. I want to see how they did it. All right. I mean, that hit just as hard as the other ones did, but something they did. I mean, something obviously popped, but it wasn't as energetic as before. And the only thing I can think of is maybe it still popped the same way it did last time, but because there wasn't as much fuel left over because it did the in-flight relight, that it didn't have enough energy to actually pop the entire head of the Starship. Because in the landing burn, these bottom tanks aren't used. It's all there's header tanks up at the top edge up here, up in the cone, nose cone, And every time it's popped before, that's what explodes, and you see the back end of it, the bottom part of the ship, still intact, as intact as it's going to be. Right? It's crunched, but it's there because it pops up there. But maybe it just wasn't enough fuel to actually cause that kind of explosion, or the way it popped, it wasn't. It didn't pop simultaneously. It wasn't as energetic. I don't know. But that's you can't slow it down yet. That's impressive that didn't pop. Also, some pretty darn good structural integrity of that thing to hold together on that. Wow. See if we can see the land. So there's the 3 engines lit. So there's the flip. The other thing we don't know is if any of those heat shield tiles came off because of the flip. Like we don't know that either. But if we go back, there's a buoy right there, right next to where it's going to land. Obviously, the drone is sitting there too. It didn't blow up. They're having a field day over there right now. That's the heat shield team's wet dream right there. Let's go back. I want to see the booster. This is before the launch. It would have been at 6 something. I want to see if they can they show any of the separation this time. That's already separated. Okay. Here's where it would have separated. So if we go back, it looks like the ship engines were the right order. Because it did these top 3 first. So the two top vacuums and the one center, and then the bottom vacuum. And what that's supposed to do is push it up. I don't know if in this view it's up to the top or up down to the bottom. I think it's up to the top. Excuse me. Because it's not symmetrical thrust from the ship. And then it turns those last 2 on after it's already separated. But what I want to see, because the video is delayed. So that's it shut down in the video. It's already, the telemetry is well beyond. No! Okay. Pause. Jeez. Was not listening to my pause. You can see the hot staging trusses there. Very bright. You do see it go away, but you can't really tell what way it flips from that view. And they did not actually show, but you see all 33 are here. Can you see the booster in this anywhere? I'm looking. I mean, last time at this point, the booster was off to the left, so that's good that it's not over there. It clearly got back to its mark, so I feel like it must have flipped right. We just didn't get to see the actual separation. I'm sure they'll post some video. All this stuff all of these streams are going the entire time back to them. I'm sure they'll post a video of doing it, but it was a perfect boost back burn. We just couldn't see the actual. Is that the ship right here? That might be the ship right here on this view of the booster. Yeah, I think that is the ship. It didn't give as good of a view this time. Okay, so then the actual landing. So cool views. So this is where it gets dicey. They're supposed to light all 13 of these middle ones. None of the outside ones are going to light. It should just be all these 13. Hitting the wrong key. That's why it's not pausing. Go. So they got 10 lit, and then 2 went out. They're down to 9. And because one of those was the 3 middle, which is what's left, it's supposed to go down to 5, I think, at the end there. I don't think that's the 5 they wanted. Yeah, it just didn't have enough thrust. It didn't have enough engines. It did not slow down as much as it should have. And then boom, that one went boom because the video stopped. And you heard the boom in the live stream after it. So that looked like I'm going the wrong way. Doot, doot, doot. I just don't think it had enough. I feel like the fuel may have not been in a in the sitting in the tanks properly. It's entirely possible like there was like what they have to do when it's coming down. I mean, the fuel wants to go to the top of the tank, right? So what they have to do is they have to pressurize the tank with gas on top of it to push the fuel down. I'm wondering if they just didn't have the pressure right, or something just didn't pressurize as much as they wanted it to, and just didn't provide enough fuel for all of the engines to start. Because they all started back up and they all lit perfectly fine during the boost back burn. So they should have done it here if they had fuel. But I'm guessing they just didn't get it fed. That'll probably be what comes back out when they talk about what happened there. And if that's all it was, if it was just a pressure thing, they might try for a landing at the tower, but I highly doubt it. I think they probably want to play that safe and not risk blowing up their launch facilities because it does this. But I think we'll probably get a ship orbital flight this next time. So they can do that. That gets them on the road to doing more tests that they need to do for Artemis and for HLS. Because one of the big things they got to show is in-flight tanker fuel transfer. Because if they can't do that, they can't get to the moon. So, but this might open up that. It'll also open up them launching their Starlink V3s. And increase that network, and that's just the cash cow there if they can do that. So that's just crazy that the thing didn't blow up when it tipped over. A little bit of fire, but it's still there. The other thing is like those tiles at the bottom of that, maybe they came off when they hit the water too. That's the other thing is we don't know when the tiles came off. I guess we could go. We had a pretty good view before it actually hit. Here? Let's see. We don't have the bottom edge of it there. Yeah, there's no way of seeing that. Because they could have gotten blown up by the exhaust here. Like when it hit it, it blew up and blew it off. So it may have been there just fine right before it hit. And even so on the rest of them, right? The other ones may have still been there. It might have been a little loose, but they may have still been there on these other bits. And this massive jolt to it decided to knock them loose and fall out completely. Who knows? But it looked pretty good. I mean, there weren't massive amounts of tiles missing. So that is the key. You can live without a few of them. You just can't live with big patches missing. Wow, that did not blow up. Cool. All right. Well, on that bombshell, as they say, I think that's going to do it. If they release any cool videos, I will play them on another stream or pass them along to whoever. But that's really cool. I wonder, actually, hang on, before we call that, they're showing replays over here. I wonder if they got any of the hot staging. Come, give me the tab. Event. Let's check that first, see if anybody got that.
The ship's
Scrolling back through Tim's on the other screen. There's a cool view of the not focused. It was more focused a second ago. Let's see. Let's come back. It's like light bulbs. Just trying to see if anybody has a hot staging replay that they've shown yet. Oh, that's one coming back. Hang on. So this is it coming back to the Gulf. It's miles out. It's a few miles out off. So this is an incredibly zoomed lens to see this. We'll see what the engine startup looks like. It's getting hazy now because it's so far out there. Oh, hang on. Playback speed quarter. I want to see the. Ooh. That was an energetic startup right there. I wonder if a Raptor ate itself. And the other ones didn't seem like enough out for a Raptor to having ate itself, though. Oh. Guess we did not get the end result. No. Okay. Still not seeing anything for the staging. I don't know that they have cameras far enough that could capture that at staging. Because that's pretty far out off the coast that happens. SpaceX probably does, and they will probably release them. But I don't think any of these guys do. I'm just going to go back and see if this is Tim's reaction to it not popping. I want to see what it is. You saw his mouth go boom. And it didn't go boom. That's not. Are you? Is he in shock?
Texas. Everyone's super.
Oh no, that's valuable data for them right there. Being able to get that it landed with the heat shield like that, where you can now visualize the heat shield. This is like, oh come on, that's what I'm talking about right there. Is they're able to get some of that valuable data.
Let's see, do they have any replays we missed that were of interest? Going back. Yeah, nobody's going to catch the hot state. It was too far out. That's really what I want to see is a hot staging, but we don't have any video of it. But it came back. So cool. Well, on that awesome view right there of an intact ship after flight, didn't even have to be caught by, I mean, that wouldn't want to refly that one, but it didn't have to get caught by chopsticks. It just stayed together when it hit the water. That'll be crazy. So, all right. We will call it there. Thank you all for watching. We will see you on the next one next week at some point. Have a good weekend. Bye.